In the preface of The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker, the author introduces the concept of death denial as a fundamental human trait that permeates every aspect of human existence. Becker argues that human beings are unique in their ability to imagine themselves in the future, which leads to an awareness of their own mortality. This realization creates a profound sense of anxiety and fear that motivates individuals to construct a symbolic system of meaning and purpose to deny the inevitability of death. Becker suggests that these symbolic systems of meaning are constructed by individuals and cultures to provide a sense of transcendence and immortality. These systems include religion, art, philosophy, and culture, among others, and they serve to provide individuals with a sense of purpose and a framework for understanding the world around them. However, Becker also suggests that these systems are not infallible and can be prone to failure, leading to a crisis of meaning and a sense of existential dread. This crisis can result in individuals feeling lost, confused, and anxious, leading them to seek out new sources of meaning or to reject the idea of meaning altogether. Overall, the preface of The Denial of Death highlights the central theme of the book, which is the human struggle to come to terms with mortality and the ways in which individuals and cultures construct symbolic systems of meaning to deny death. It underscores the importance of understanding the human condition and the ways in which individuals navigate the existential challenges of life. Chapter 1, Introduction, Human Nature and the Heroic. In Chapter 1, the author explores the concept of human nature and how it relates to heroism. Becker suggests that humans are unique in their awareness of their own mortality, which leads them to seek ways to overcome this limitation. One way humans do this is by creating and following heroic ideals. Becker argues that heroism is not just something reserved for the exceptional few but rather a universal human pursuit. He believes that heroism serves as a way for individuals to transcend their mortal limitations and achieve a sense of immortality through their actions and accomplishments. The author also examines the various forms of heroism that exist in different cultures and societies. He notes that heroism is not limited to physical feats or acts of bravery but can also be expressed through creative endeavors, intellectual pursuits, and social contributions. Overall, Becker's introduction sets the stage for the rest of the book by introducing the idea that human beings are unique in their awareness of death and that heroism is a universal pursuit that allows individuals to transcend their mortality. The chapter encourages readers to reflect on their own ideas about heroism and to consider how these ideals shape their lives and sense of purpose. Part 1. The Depth Psychology of Heroism. Chapter 2, The Terror of Death. In Chapter 2, Becker explores the fundamental existential dilemma of the terror of death. Becker argues that humans are unique in their awareness of death, which creates an inherent fear and anxiety that influences our actions and behaviors. This terror of death drives many of our pursuits, including the pursuit of heroism. Becker suggests that heroism is a way for individuals to cope with the terror of death by denying their mortality and achieving a form of immortality. Heroic acts allow individuals to feel as though they have transcended their own mortality and left a lasting legacy. The author also examines the various ways that humans have attempted to overcome the terror of death throughout history. He notes that religion has been a powerful coping mechanism for humans by promising an afterlife. Religious beliefs allow individuals to deny death and believe in something greater than themselves, providing a sense of comfort and hope. Chapter 2 provides valuable insights into the impact of death on human behavior. It highlights the role of heroism as a means of denying mortality and suggests that religion has been a powerful coping mechanism for humans in the face of the terror of death. The chapter encourages readers to reflect on their own attitudes towards death and consider how they shape their beliefs and behaviors. Chapter 3, The Recasting of Some Basic Psychoanalytic Ideas. In Chapter 3, Becker examines some of the basic psychoanalytic ideas and recasts them in light of his theory of the terror of death. Becker argues that the human psyche is driven by the need to deny our mortality, which is at the root of much of our behavior and motivation. Becker suggests that much of our psychological behavior can be understood as an attempt to deny death. For example, he argues that our desire for love and relationships is driven by the need to feel connected and validated, which helps to counteract the isolation and loneliness that come with the awareness of our mortality. Becker also examines the role of defense mechanisms in denying death. He suggests that our defense mechanisms, such as denial and repression, are ways of protecting ourselves from the reality of our mortality. These defense mechanisms help us to maintain a sense of control and predictability in our lives. Overall, Chapter 3 provides valuable insights into the impact of the terror of death on human psychology. It highlights the role of defense mechanisms and our desire for relationships and validation as ways of denying death. The chapter encourages readers to reflect on their own psychological behavior and consider how it may be shaped by their awareness of mortality. Before we continue, we would like to inform you that we release these summaries in audio format on Spotify before we release them on YouTube in video format, with subtitles. We have also created a goldmine of information which you can get exclusive access to by supporting us on Patreon. You get in-depth summaries plus scripts, usually twice the length of our YouTube content, a list of the top 20 key takeaways and exercises, summary requests, and more. Thank you for the support and don't forget to hit the like button. Chapter 4, Human Character as a Vital Lie. In Chapter 4, Becker explores the concept of human character as a vital lie. He suggests that humans create a sense of self or character to help us cope with the terror of death. This character is a vital lie because it is a fiction that we create to deny the reality of our mortality. Becker argues that human character is shaped by our social and cultural environments, which provide us with a set of values and beliefs that we use to define ourselves. These values and beliefs allow us to create a sense of meaning and purpose in our lives, which helps us to deny the terror of death. However, Becker also suggests that our human character can become a source of anxiety and stress. When our beliefs and values are challenged, we may experience a crisis of identity, which can lead to feelings of despair and hopelessness. Chapter 4 provides valuable insights into the ways in which humans create a sense of self or character to cope with the terror of death. It highlights the role of social and cultural factors in shaping our beliefs and values and suggests that our human character can become a source of anxiety and stress. The chapter encourages readers to reflect on their own sense of self and consider how it may be shaped by their awareness of mortality. Chapter 5, The Psychoanalyst Kierkegaard. In Chapter 5, Becker examines the ideas of the philosopher and psychoanalyst Soren Kierkegaard. Becker argues that Kierkegaard's philosophy provides valuable insights into the human condition and our attempts to deny the reality of our mortality. Becker suggests that Kierkegaard's concept of despair is closely related to the terror of death. Kierkegaard believed that despair arises from a sense of disconnection from ourselves and the world around us. This disconnection is a result of our awareness of our mortality, which creates a sense of isolation and meaninglessness. According to Kierkegaard, the only way to overcome despair is through faith in the belief in something greater than oneself. This belief provides a sense of meaning and purpose that helps to counteract the despair that arises from the awareness of our mortality. Chapter 5 provides valuable insights into the relationship between despair and the terror of death. It highlights the importance of faith and belief in providing a sense of meaning and purpose in our lives. The chapter encourages readers to reflect on their own sense of connection to the world around them and consider the role of faith and belief in coping with the awareness of mortality. Chapter 6, The Problem of Freud's Character, Noch einmal. Chapter 6 focuses on Sigmund Freud's theory of human nature. Ernest Becker argues that Freud's theory is limited because it fails to take into account the role of culture and society in shaping human behavior and beliefs. Becker suggests that Freud's theory is based on the assumption that human behavior is motivated solely by instinctual drives, such as the desire for sex and aggression. However, Becker argues that human behavior is shaped by a complex interplay between our innate biological drives and the cultural and social forces that surround us. Furthermore, Becker suggests that Freud's theory is limited by its focus on the individual. According to Becker, human beings are fundamentally social creatures, and our sense of self is shaped by the relationships we have with others. Therefore, any theory of human nature must take into account the social and cultural context in which we live. In conclusion, Chapter 6 highlights the limitations of Freud's theory of human nature and emphasizes the importance of understanding the role of culture and society in shaping our behavior and beliefs. The chapter encourages readers to consider the impact of their social and cultural environment on their sense of self and identity. Part 2. The failures of heroism. Chapter 7, The spell cast by persons, the nexus of unfreedom. In Chapter 7, Becker explores the concept of the spell cast by individuals and how it contributes to human unfreedom. According to Becker, individuals possess an innate desire for transcendence, which they seek to satisfy by attaching themselves to powerful, charismatic figures who seem to embody this transcendence. However, this attachment can quickly turn into a form of unfreedom, as individuals become trapped by the spell cast by these figures. Becker argues that this phenomenon is particularly dangerous in the political sphere, where charismatic leaders can use their power to control and manipulate their followers, often leading to disastrous consequences. He cites examples such as Hitler and Stalin, who were able to maintain their power by casting a spell over their followers, convincing them to sacrifice their individuality and autonomy for the sake of a greater cause. Overall, Becker suggests that the spell cast by individuals is a manifestation of the human desire for transcendence, but it can also become a form of unfreedom that undermines individual autonomy and leads to dangerous consequences. He encourages individuals to recognize the power dynamics at play in relationships and to resist the allure of charismatic leaders who seek to exert control over their followers. Chapter 8, Otto Rank and the Closure of Psychoanalysis on Kierkegaard. In Chapter 8, Becker explores the work of Otto Rank, a psychoanalyst and close colleague of Sigmund Freud. According to Becker, Rank's ideas represent a continuation of the existential tradition that began with Kierkegaard. Rank believed that humans are driven by the desire to transcend their limitations and achieve a sense of self-worth and significance. He also argued that the fear of death is central to human psychology, and that individuals use various strategies to deny or overcome this fear, including the pursuit of power, success, and creativity. Rank criticized traditional psychoanalysis for its focus on pathology and neurosis, and instead sought to understand human behavior in terms of creative self-expression. He also emphasized the importance of love and relationships in human development, and believed that the mother-child bond was essential to the formation of a healthy self-image. Becker notes that while Rank's ideas were influential in the early years of psychoanalysis, they were eventually overshadowed by Freud's emphasis on the conflict between the individual and society. Nevertheless, Rank's work remains important for its focus on the positive aspects of human nature and the potential for creative self-expression. Chapter 9, The Present Outcome of Psychoanalysis. In this chapter, Becker analyzes the current state of psychoanalysis and its shortcomings. He argues that while psychoanalysis has provided valuable insights into human behavior and the human psyche, it has failed to address the central human concern of death anxiety. Psychoanalysis focuses on the individual's inner life and conflicts, but it fails to recognize the larger societal and cultural influences that shape human behavior. Becker suggests that psychoanalysis needs to incorporate a broader perspective that includes social and cultural factors to better understand human behavior. He points out that the modern world's emphasis on materialism and success exacerbates people's anxieties about their own mortality. Psychoanalysis must address this issue by helping people to confront and manage their fears of death. Becker also criticizes the rigid dogma within psychoanalytic circles that stifles critical thinking and progress. He suggests that psychoanalysis needs to be open to new ideas and perspectives to evolve and stay relevant in modern society. Overall, Becker advocates for a more holistic approach to psychoanalysis that recognizes the impact of culture and society on individual behavior and addresses the central human concern of death anxiety. Chapter 10, A General View of Mental Illness. In Chapter 10, Becker explores the nature of mental illness and how it relates to the human condition. He argues that mental illness is the result of the individual's inability to come to terms with their mortality, and that this denial can manifest itself in various ways, such as anxiety, depression, and psychosis. Becker points out that many mental illnesses are not merely individual problems but are also the product of larger cultural and societal forces. He argues that the way in which we structure our societies and our cultural values can contribute to the prevalence of mental illness, as individuals struggle to find meaning and purpose in a world that denies the reality of death. Moreover, Becker contends that mental illness should be viewed as a normal response to the human condition, rather than as a pathology. He suggests that by recognizing the universal struggle to come to terms with our mortality, we can create a more compassionate and understanding approach to mental illness. Overall, the chapter offers a thought-provoking perspective on the relationship between mortality, culture, and mental health, highlighting the need for a more holistic and compassionate approach to understanding and treating mental illness. Part 3. Retrospect and Conclusion. The Dilemmas of Heroism. Chapter 11. Psychology and Religion. What is the heroic individual? In Chapter 11, Becker delves into the relationship between psychology and religion, and how they both attempt to address the human need for heroism. Becker argues that while religion has historically provided a framework for heroism through its mythological stories and teachings, psychology has failed to adequately address this need, instead focusing on the negative aspects of human behavior. Becker suggests that the heroic individual, as envisioned by both religion and psychology, is one who is able to transcend their limited human existence and achieve a sense of meaning and purpose beyond themselves. However, he notes that while religion offers a clear path towards heroism through faith and devotion to a higher power, psychology has struggled to provide a similar framework. Becker criticizes the psychoanalytic focus on neurosis and dysfunction, arguing that it fails to provide a positive vision of human potential. He suggests that psychology needs to incorporate more positive and optimistic perspectives on human behavior in order to provide a more complete understanding of the human experience. Overall, Becker emphasizes the importance of heroism as a fundamental human need, and suggests that both religion and psychology have important roles to play in addressing this need. Conclusion. In the conclusion of The Denial of Death, Ernest Becker emphasizes that the fear of death is at the core of human behavior and that all human activity is motivated by the need to deny or transcend the inevitability of death. He argues that understanding the mechanisms of denial and transcendence is critical to understanding human behavior and culture. Becker stresses that the awareness of death creates existential anxiety in individuals, which motivates them to seek symbolic immortality through their work, religion, and culture. However, he argues that these efforts ultimately fail because they do not address the root of the problem, the inescapable reality of death. Becker suggests that individuals must confront their mortality and embrace their finitude in order to achieve a sense of freedom and authenticity. He believes that accepting death can lead to a transformation of the self and allow individuals to fully appreciate the richness of life. In conclusion, The Denial of Death offers a provocative and compelling analysis of the human condition. Becker's work highlights the central role of death anxiety in human behavior and culture and underscores the importance of acknowledging and confronting our mortality.